Okay, guys, I'm joined here today with or Jason. He plays Heroes of the Storm. He's a good streamer. Also a legend himself. I'll get him to tell him maybe give us insight to maybe like your origin story or like how you maybe like your first games you played Spek and like how you got to be a streamer playing Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you first of all very much for having me. I've been a gamer my entire life. Starting with Nintendo 30 years ago.
Is that your first console?
Yes. My first gaming was, Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Quality.
I think anyone in their 30s might have remembered that, the old Nintendo light gun. You always shoot the dog.
Yeah, so like, again, some of the folk I've had on here, they're like, because they're really young, they're obviously in their pro career, and they're like 20, 19, some of them. I'm sitting here, a 30-year-old man, mentioning games, and they're like, yeah, I have no idea what that is.
yeah, wasted on the youth, exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
But no, I've always been a gamer, but I've always kind of gravitated towards strategy or RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
All the old turn-based Final Fantasies were always big for me. Dragon Warrior, the original one on Nintendo again.
Wow, yeah, that's an old school one.
Yeah. Like all the real old school stuff is what I cut my teeth on back in the day. But that's always been what I did. RTS and strategy games as well, though. Like when I finally got my first PC, one of the very first games that I really got into was a demo disc for Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, like the first Warcraft strategy game.
Oh, that's really cool. I was actually saying to one of the StarCraft guys I was talking to yesterday, I was saying I started playing RTSs off of like when you used to buy those old PC magazines and you got the discs.
Yeah, and you would get the little discs with the first few levels of a bunch of games.
Yeah, and that was it. I had a StarCraft 2 one that I got like 3 levels on. And that was all you got. You played 3 levels as Terran, and I would just play this like consistently because you couldn't buy StarCraft. So.
Yeah, exactly. The original Warcraft one, you got the first 3 levels as humans and as the orcs, and I must have played through that hundreds of times when I was young.
Yeah, it's cool. So, and how did you develop like playing these games into like how did you decide that HOTS was sort of the MOBA that you wanted to play and stream?
A couple of years ago, 5 years ago, I moved to Ireland from Canada to be with my now wife. And the type of visa
on the wedding as well. I didn't actually mention that, dude, because you did.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, like the type of visa that I had moving over basically meant I wouldn't really be able to get a career here. I could have gone and gotten a job, like minimum wage, entry level type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm in the envious position where, like, okay, I could have done that, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
Because I did used to work my butt off. I have a bunch of savings, and my beautiful, wonderful wife, who might listen to this later, so, compliments abound.
Gotta give her some props, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Is also helping out because it's not a problem, really.
That's cool.
So yeah, I didn't really need to get just any old job, and like gaming is my passion, always has been, pretty much always will be. Like I hope I die with a controller in my hands.
Absolutely.
So I figured I'd give it a shot. I really didn't have any expectations, but HOTS came from basically I tried the others, right? Like the big ones at the time when I started. League was always number one.
Yeah.
You still had Dota 2. HOTS was a thing, and I have always loved Blizzard, so that was kind of in the forefront.
Give it a shot,
yeah. And there were a couple others at the time too, like Paragon.
Oh my god, Paragon! I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and it was all right, but it didn't really click with me as much. And the Gods one, what's the name of that? Smite,
yeah.
Yeah, that's still around apparently.
Yeah, I think it's still got a pro scene as well. It's like my younger brother used to play it from time to time, but it was like third person, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a third person. It's a little different. It was fun, but again, it just didn't click with me the same way HOTS did.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'd actually tried a bunch of them. I'm not even sure how I decided on streaming a MOBA. I think it's just I didn't want to become a variety streamer.
Yeah.
Like some people do, because I think that's a lot more difficult to break into right now.
Yeah, I feel like to build a community playing multiple games, it's like you get more loyalty out of people playing the same game. They're like, I know this guy's going to be streaming HOTS. I enjoy watching HOTS, so I'll follow him and keep coming back.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot more difficult if you're switching games constantly to really build up that original community that might allow you to get more. I mean,
Yeah, makes
people
sense.
generally will go to a stream looking to watch a specific game.
Yeah.
The average person, like those who aren't already dedicated to a certain individual.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like now there's definitely still like if you streamed other games, people would still follow to pick up. Like say you did a stream of League of Legends or something, for example. I feel like people would still get a few people come over because now you've got a
yeah,
following,
for sure. Yeah, I would definitely lose viewers like compared to my normal 100 plus or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't have like 2 or 3. I'd have probably 30 or maybe 40.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, so like I basically just decided like MOBAs are very popular. It's a thing, and it's something that I could spend a lot of time playing.
Yeah.
Too much time playing, in all honesty, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's funny because I played quite a lot of League to begin with, and then it got to this Heroes Storm came out, and I remember like even Blizzard announcing it, and I was like, oh, I could get into this. I mean, Blizzard put a lot of money behind stuff they create, and I started just playing games here and there, and it was like when deciding between the free to play, Dota just seemed ridiculously difficult. I was just like, nah, hitting your own minions, that's crazy to me. So I was like, none of that, thanks. And then League was like, a lot of my mates played it, but I played it to death. I played so many games of it. I still enjoyed watching the pro scene, but then HOTS just sort of fell into this area where like I could chill out a little bit more. Like I didn't have to last hit minions and stuff. So I was like, this is good. And then I realized it's like all mechanic based. So it seemed like obviously your positional sense and stuff as well, but the fact that I didn't have to like last hit minions, I could just focus on bullying the person at a lane. It seemed it seemed a lot more appealing,
Well, to me, with the blessing and also the curse of Heroes of the Storm compared to the other MOBAs is it's also a lot more teamwork based.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the other MOBAs, your individual skill will matter a lot more, especially like in the early laning phases.
Yeah.
Which can actually last 20 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people enjoy that. Like that's what they want. They want to be able to dominate their one opponent and then turn that into a victory for the team.
Yeah.
And I can respect that. But to me, there's nothing like just having a random group come together, like using that teamwork to just dominate your enemy together. Yeah. It's not about your individual skill. It's about how well can I coordinate with this random guy that we've only played a couple times because we're around the same rank together. And it's I don't know, it's a lot more satisfying that way to me than just like, yes, individual skill. This one character I picked, I'm better at this character than that guy's character. And I don't know, something with wombo combos, and it just kind of spoke to me more.
Definitely. It's funny as well, maybe this is like the simplest form for me as well. The relation is like, I've always played StarCraft and things like that too. I've never really played like World of Warcraft, played bits of Diablo. Like seeing these characters in the game as well was more like, I even gravitated towards StarCraft characters first when playing the game. I'm like picking up my hammer, I'm going Nova, stuff like that, just because I'm like, hey, I can play these characters. That was kind of cool. So that was also like, another reason.
But, that was definitely one of the big reasons why I got into HOTS as much as I did as well, because I mean, I've been a Blizzard fanboy for years, Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. I never played World of Warcraft, really.
Yeah, it's the same.
I tried it, but like, I'm not an MMO guy, really.
It was more like, in my head, I don't want to say it's not skill-based, because obviously at high levels it is and stuff, but it was more, I felt like I could just grind tons, and if someone's just grinded more than me, he could beat me in a fight sort of thing. I quite like the idea that like, if I play HOTS, the other person's barely played the game or played the same game same amount of time as me or more. It doesn't matter. You're on a neutral playing field almost,
Yeah, like in theory, somebody on their first game can compete with somebody on their 100th game.
Yeah, if they were good, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you have a lot of people coming over from other MOBAs and just doing really well, like immediately getting placed into Diamond on their first season.
Yeah,
that's why they still might lack some like game knowledge. They can hold their own.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, because I think as well, like when it comes to playing like HOTS and League and stuff as well, like a lot of my friends try to get them to come over to play League as well. It was hard to convince them that, I'm really enjoying this game, but they hadn't played like any of the Blizzard games, so the appeal definitely wasn't there to the same extent,
Yeah.
But,
and I mean, to be fair, HOTS did get a little bit of a bad rap when it was first released. Like it was considered by many, especially League players and Dota players, to be like baby's first MOBA.
Yeah.
Because it was simplified. right? Like there's no items. You don't have to last hit minions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the what I consider to be kind of busy work, just isn't there.
Yeah. Well, it's like they did sort of like at the start. I remember I can't remember what the documentary was called. It was like a YouTube documentary on like what happened to HOTS, something like that. And it was basically, it started off like talking about the changes that they possibly could have made earlier to try and make it more competitive. Because to begin with, I never played. I basically just played Quick Match, I think, when it first came out, just to see what the game was like. But the competitive scene, I think, was very like, it got quite a lot of scrutiny for it not being. There wasn't enough variety in what you could do. So essentially, it was like very one-dimensional. I don't know if that was actually the case, but I can't remember the name of the documentary. I'll need to find it. But it was quite interesting.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, aside from like the different rule sets and things like that, I think one of the big problems early on with HOTS is it took them too long to come out with just proper seasons.
Yeah, okay.
Like if you remember, I don't know if you were playing back then or what, but it used to just be rank 50 to rank 1 for the longest time. They didn't have, the bronze, platinum, diamond, etc., master, grandmaster stuff.
And it was okay. I didn't actually realize that back then. Okay, so it was just 50.
Top rank. Tons of players easily got to rank 1. I mean, like your average platinum player, if they played enough, would have been rank 1.
Rank 1. Okay.
So it did kind of, dampen the competitive spirit of people when you're not really accurately being assessed for your skill level and what is supposed to be the competitive game mode. And it took them a little bit too long to come out with like the proper rankings, I think.
So did you watch quite a lot of HGC? Did you keep up with the pro scene?
I watched a fair bit. As I used to watch it more earlier, like years ago. Like, I really enjoyed Heroes of the Dorm, actually.
Oh yeah, that was good, actually. Yeah.
I found that more interesting than HGC, which I think was almost too good.
Yeah.
In a sense, like not necessarily skill wise, because that was always fun to watch. But they rarely tried super different, interesting strategies because they've tried it and they knew it didn't work against these people that would see it happening and know how to counter it. Whereas Heroes of the Dorm was a lot more weird stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I love the weird stuff in Heroes of the Storm. Like, Abathur, Murky, Gazlo, that's my jam right there.
It's more like, because again, watching League, I used to watch, or still do watch Worlds, even though I don't really play League to the same extent I used to. It's still interesting watching because the action is really good for me. So when I was watching HGC, I'd go into Twitter and watch like like montages of the best kills for the season. That was more interesting to me because again, I felt although the games were shorter, I felt like there was a lot of because I know what they try to do. They condense the maps. They make the movement speed up on all characters and stuff to try and get team fights to be more common, which are probably sensible changes. But when watching HGC flat out games, I generally found myself getting bored sometimes.
Well, it's because it was at such a high level, understood the strategies, and that the person that would be solo laning, like the one who would be isolated from the team, getting their experience, would know not to go out and try to do anything because the enemy team will see that and try to capitalize. So when you get to that level of skill, it's just there aren't going to be that many surprises for the most part because both teams know not to allow that kind of stuff to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It does feel. So what suggestions do you think? Because I mean, they still have. It's not quite a pro scene, but they still have like competitions that have prize money. I don't think I don't know if it is actually, but I don't think it's livable. Like, I don't think you can actually live off of these like wages that they make off it.
Oh no. Well, I have no idea but I would seriously doubt it if it was. But I am very happy that it's there. In fact, I almost wish that rather than the HGC, which I do enjoy, I kind of wish Blizzard had only supported the amateur leagues and, you know what I mean, like made those into the pro leagues rather than trying to run everything themselves.
Yeah, instead of like giving everybody a wage, creating the studios, if they just even had, look, this is the prize money.
Exactly.
That would almost give it a bit of structure to it. I think as long as people are still interested in the game, they would still play. They could still compete if they wanted to.
Exactly, because people are very passionate about the game. Like I've always believed that for all of its faults, like it has a very passionate fan base.
Yeah,
and Blizzard just needs to let them do what they want to do and support what they want to do as well.
I was talking to, was it Quacknix 3 days ago? We got a podcast with him. It was really good, and he was chatting about how all the guys in Fnatic, because I was saying now, like, do they still play HOTS? And he was like, oh, we'll still get together and play, but he just streams for fun. And a lot of them went to like Smite and things like that. So they all, I mean, even Smite, it's pro scene. I know it's decent money, it's not amazing, but even then, like, the creators are praying for the prize money. The prize money is bigger. I mean, if you look at like Dota, they'll just chuck huge prize money pools out to make it more appealing to people to play, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, that's the thing. Like, if you need to make a living at it, like if you want that to be your job, you know, you do have to survive. People have to pay rent and buy food, and so you know, they got to pay you.
Yeah, pretty much. So what changes do you think Blizzard could make to actually maybe not bring HGC back, but even just to create their own league? What do you think they'd have to do to bring a exciting scene?
That's a tough one. It would have been easier to answer, in my opinion, right? Like, again, it would have been much easier a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, even just after the HGC cancellation. I think it would have been much easier to kind of flip things about.
Yeah.
They are apparently, I don't know if you saw the BlizzCon announcements for Heroes of the Storm and stuff.
I did.
Okay, perfect. Because I mean, they're trying with those anomalies.
Yep.
Right. So like the experience globes and things. I'm not gonna say whether I like that or not. Actually, I will. I don't think it's a good idea. But I mean, I do like that they're still trying different things, even if, you know, I'm not necessarily a fan of what they're trying. At least they're trying. But I personally think they need a hard meta shift.
Yes.
And that the game has been too much about just instantly destroying one person on the enemy team for too long now.
Yeah.
Like there'll be a lot of displacement abilities, things that take the enemy and move them out of position, and then they just die. Yeah,
it does feel a bit stagnant in that respect, where it's just like, kill this guy, he's the aggressor, like, sort of mentality.
Yeah, exactly. And like there are just so many tools that instantly take away all control of somebody, you know, from the enemy team and just kill them.
Yeah.
And there's very little that you can do about it when you know, teams are capable of doing thousands of damage in a second right now. And I mean, League has always been designed around that type of play style.
Yeah,
right?
that's what
like
you expect.
Dota as well. It's always been that way. There are more tools to deal with it, like defensively with items like flash, things like that. It's always been like that. So it's more based around that. But that's a newer thing with Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
It's been the power creep, which is something I actually talk about on the stream a lot, usually while swearing at Blizzard with their damn power creep. Get it under control, I say.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's quite a few things. Cause I feel they're now stuck between a rock and a hard place where they make changes, and even if like people do think they're good, I still think even you just look at, okay, Twitter is probably a bad place to use as an example, but they'll say this is our patch updates, these are our changes, and the amount of abuse, even if they are good changes. I mean, even when look at Deathwing, for example, like, of course he looks absolutely ridiculous, and I like the fact that, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it just looks beautiful. Like it
really does.
It's incredible. And I understand, like, they need to make big changes, they need to make big announcements for things like BlizzCon, but it's just like people spamming like, this is OP, this is like, there's always a huge negative side to it, because I feel like they just can't. It's the same with, what was the other thing they came out with? Oh yeah, the like XP rings, the rings they have around.
Oh right, yes.
And that's what
the mastery rings.
Yes, that's what they're called. That's like, what are they called again? And it was like, I bought one just to see what it was like, and I was just like, did I actually just like pay 10,000 gold for this? Like, it just didn't make sense at all. I was like, unless like maybe they can customize it or something later, I don't know. But again, like you say, I can imagine their development team is a lot smaller than it was before. So
yeah, for sure.
It sucks, because from their perspective, they're probably still passionate about the game, want to try and make some changes. But anything they do just feels like it gets absolutely shut down really hard. So it feels like they're, like I say, stuck between a rock and a hard place, you know?
Oh yeah, like I do not envy them. But that doesn't stop me from criticizing them. But I do it with love, right? Like anyone who watches my stream will hear me rant and rave and swear quite often. But it under the hope of improvements. It's like the Gordon Ramsay strategy of criticism with love.
Yes.
I might call them idiot sandwiches, but it's because I want them to do better.
It's because you care. That's it.
Exactly. But yeah, I am actually quite excited about Deathwing. I think actually, since I watched the BlizzCon announcements, I got a little bit more excited because the people presenting it were so excited, and I was like, that's adorable. It made me feel a little bit better about it.
I'm lucky, my flatmate I stay with, he's pretty big on World of Warcraft, so I came home yesterday to him sitting watching BlizzCon, and it's like, I don't know what it is. Again, he's obviously hyped knowing a new World of Warcraft expansion's coming out. I'm sort of sitting waiting, hoping they announce StarCraft 3 or something. But it's like, they're just sitting, and like you say, the announcers get so excited over it. It's like, okay, sounds a bit wrong, but the little kid inside you is like, this is amazing. New stuff's coming out. New stuff's happening, you know? But yeah, when they announced it, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. When they showed the video and stuff of it, and it was almost a troll, because when the Twitch stream of the developers talking about Deathwing, and they were even like, people were saying that seems pretty strong, and he's just laughing and going, yup. I'm like, you're like knowingly putting in like an absolute destruction ball into, like, it's obviously going to be a permaban, like no one's going to get to play this person in ranked, you know. So I guess it does shift the meta though, because like it means potentially other ones that you'll ban, like say, I don't know who you're banning, but like I think Kale's still one of the most banned heroes.
Yeah, amongst most ranks, especially low ranks, Kale Thoughts is generally the number one ban, and in the higher ranks it's Alarak currently.
Yeah, so it just means that like one of these heroes is going to dip out of the
might get through a little bit more. Although just keep in mind, Deathwing reminds me a lot of Cho'Gall, right?
Yeah, like, man, that's right.
That's another character which actually two people control together. That is potentially amazingly powerful. But also can
be
completely shut down and just, you know. So I almost hope it's a little bit like that, and that we will see it played, and it just, you know, like just changes things up, because that's what I really want from HOTS right now. Is things need to be changed up.
I think there's definitely one thing that I've heard you mention your stream a few times as well, and it can be quite frustrating, because when I stream as well, I do like to interact with people that come into Twitch, so I'll stream solo quite a lot. And it sucks that, and maybe it's just the amount of people that are playing just now, because obviously the game isn't as popular as it was even after they combined the leagues. It just seems that when you're queuing, the amount of times you're playing against pre-mades can be so frustrating, you know. And it's like, I feel like HOTS, like if they change it, if they make it like you only play against other people that are teamed, you're sitting queuing for like 6 minutes, because, you know, you can't get a perfect 5, you can't get a perfect 3 to play against. But then at the same time, you can't really blame people queuing for it, because they're just taking advantage of the system like anyone would, you know?
Exactly. Well, that's it. Like, there are two different types of teams that you'll encounter. There's the random team of just people that played with each other a few times and were like, hey, this guy was okay. We'll group together because I know they're not going to, you know, die 13 times in 6 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's generally not too bad. It's just relatively decent players that are playing together. It's not a big deal. But then you also do have the try-hard teams, which are on like communication together, which are picking characters that synergize really well with combos. And that can be incredibly miserable to play against when you're just with a bunch of randomers.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can usually feel that in the game too, because, you know, like instantly the entire enemy team will just focus down that one target, which is satisfying to do. And, you know, like that's the strategy.
As long as you're not the target,
exactly, right. But it is essentially having like a pro team versus just a bunch of amateurs in a college NBA team just dunking on a bunch of high schoolers. That's almost what that feels at sometimes.
It does. It's especially like there's even times when, like, okay, it's easy for you to say, okay, this person hasn't pinged missing or whatever, but when you see the coordination of some people chatting and playing, it is completely different to you just jumping in with 4 randoms, even if they're good, even they can, you know, just hold their own. Like it's just like, let's hide in this bush here. We've got them. They're gonna come through here. Something as simple as that. It's so much.
It's incredibly different. I mean, I have had a few games with people on communications, and just calling out targets makes a massive difference.
Yeah,
like having everybody focus. Oh, let's kill Raynor. Like just having one person just calling out names of people on the enemy team during a fight will basically guarantee you victory.
Oh yeah,
the vast majority of the time. It just means that person's going to die very, very quickly.
So like talking more about like you specifically. So even when you're playing HOTS, like one thing that I think is like we said before as well, like commonly throughout HOTS and potentially other games as well, when let's just say rage in games, like how do you deal with like I get on streams as well? I can relate, because I feel like you've got to rein it back a little bit. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I feel like if there was a hidden camera in my room when I'm playing games, folk would be like, this guy is a little bit mental, you know?
Yeah.
So how do you
it's a tough one, and I know I get criticism calling me salty and stuff, but that's just the way I am. You play MOBAs full time, you're going to be angry.
Yeah.
Like that is how it's going to be. To me, honestly, streaming is a way to kind of control the anger. It comes out on the stream. I rant, I rave, I insult players. I mean, I will also compliment players when they do well, but I will insult people. But I will also insult myself when I do bad things. So it's not like I'm not criticizing my own self for my own stupid plays. But just talking about it on the stream is a way to kind of channel that rage a little bit.
Well, see, I'm quite competitive a lot of stuff, but even when it comes to games, the thing that makes me seem more mental is I'm not screaming so much at the other person. I'll actually be like, God damn it, you suck, Dale. Like, I'll be speaking to myself, you know, that's it. I'm just like, you are just shit at this game. It's really bad.
Exactly.
But,
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed in yourself. You're horrendous. Which does sound awful, but I mean, I think it comes down to playing like games like StarCraft as a kid, where you're mostly playing 1v1, so you have no one to blame. Whereas like this team game mentality, it's very easy to point the finger and be like, well, he didn't call missing, even though you're like, you're so far pushed, you know, stuff like that. It's very easy.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's easy to criticize in any scenario. And I mean, let's be fair. There are 5 people on a team of Heroes of the Storm. Odds are there's somebody that's going to do something wrong that you can criticize. Yeah. And that's okay, I think. Right. Yeah. Like there is a line between criticism and toxicity. I try not to be toxic usually. But like, it is okay to criticize as long as it is constructively, but you also have to admit when you could have done something different, and you could have noticed that, hey, I haven't seen anybody on the enemy team for the last 20 seconds and I'm being aggressive.
I might be in trouble here.
It might be in trouble here. My gank England type of thing. It was funny. Like, you have to admit it. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're not going to rant about your own stupid play as much as you might rant about, you know, your assassin main's stupid play. Yeah. You still have to admit it when you do something like that.
It was quite interesting because talking to Quack, he was the same. I was sort of saying, like, how do you deal with rage? Or even like more, you see a lot of people blame each other in games. And he was saying sort of thing, keep in mind, the way he thinks about it is like, keep in mind, you're never going to do everything right 100% yourself. So like, he's always like, in his head, he's like, well, I died there. What could I do? What could I have done to help myself? But I was sort of saying to him that my anger mostly comes from like pre-game. Like, you're picking your team and you've got a decent team all locked in, and then someone suddenly locks in Lost Vikings when you've already got like Zagara locked in, and you're like, yep, but that's it. Want to go kill myself? Cool. You know, it's instant, and you know you've got to sit through this game now that some guy's clearly trolled, and if he's not the 1% of Lost Viking players that's a god, the game's over, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I play, like I said, I stream Heroes of the Storm 7 hours a day, a lot more on Fridays. Like just yesterday, I did 11 hours. And
wow, that's a heavy stream, man.
Every Friday, I drink, and that allows me to play MOBAs for longer, strangely enough. But no, you are going to encounter just teams like that where the enemy team is going to have a significant advantage over your heroes just because of which ones are picked. Yeah. And there is never a game that is entirely decided in the draft. Yeah. It's no matter how bad of a team comp you have, there is still a chance.
Yeah, slim chance.
Yeah. But of course, if you go into a game even with a really bad team comp, kind of half given up, like a lot of people are likely to do, that chance is gone. Yeah. Right. Like, you're going to have to play your heart out if you're going to win with one of those really off team comps against, you know, like the Hanzo, Gul'dan, you know, like the standard meta team comp, because they will have the advantage.
That's what I'm hoping, that like when you see Deathwing coming, I'm really hoping it mixes up to the point you just see other heroes that have been banned played more. But I do feel like it needs to be something big to change and upset the meta at the moment. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, and again, I rant about this on my stream, but it goes back to the power and that like.
Oh, sorry, Spek. Can you repeat that, dude? Sorry, you just your voice skipped a little bit.
It goes back to the power creep, which is kind of what has shaped the meta recently, and that there's just the newer characters and the ones who have been reworked, and like a small handful like Hanzo and stuff like that are just better than a lot of others.
Yeah, definitely.
Like assuming you can play them competently, it's like a really well played, considered bad hero will still be better than like other things. Yeah. But there are just better heroes right now, and they're not just better at this one thing, they're better at pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And that is one thing I wish Blizzard would look at a little bit more. And I don't think they can spend the next 3 to 5 years reworking every other hero up to that new level. No. So I kind of want them to stop buffing constantly and start nerfing more.
I would actually love to just like be a fly on the wall when you see these discussions when they're talking about, like, you get all these memes about like the balancing of any game, and it's like the amount of thought they put into like balancing a game, and it'll be like a 2-second like meme of something, But
yeah, exactly.
It would be interesting to see like what the discussions are like, because I do enjoy reading through patch notes, and I'll do it on stream as well. And some of it is like, what's the logic? And even reading their comments makes it even worse sometimes. I'm like, that makes no sense, so in your head, but obviously they see a lot of statistics that you don't see.
Yeah.
So...
well, that's it. Like we both have very different views of how the game is played and what's going on. Because they have all the statistics, and they play amongst each other on a certain level. And I mean, as a streamer, like I said, I'm playing 40+ hours of the game per week at my own level as well, where I only see certain things happening a lot more often. So like there is more that they have to consider than just I see. But at the same time, I can only really talk about what I see every day.
Yeah,
sort of
exactly. It's definitely down to like you just don't know how much they're actually going to be able to change because of their reduction in funding. So
exactly. So that's why I criticize them to hell and back. And then back again. But at the same time, it's from a place of love and the hope that they do better. And I know they have a ton right now.
Like it's easy to give them abuse when they've got tons of money back, and they're like, this is shit. There's got no excuse for this,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I forgot to say as well, Spek. So my channel's also like I do a fitness element to it as well. So like, is there anything that you do day to day to keep fit? You were saying you drink beer. Do you do anything to burn the beer off, or do you have
well, I do tend to go over to the fridge to get more beer.
That's good cardio.
A bit of a cardio. Yeah.
Especially on a Friday, that's like a few beers, man.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, ever since I moved to Ireland, I've been doing a lot less active lifestyle. So honestly, no.
Did you do much in Canada?
I used to do more, yeah. I used to bike a lot when I lived in the country, actually. That was my staying fit of choice right there. I used to bike.
That's cool. That's like a nice
kilometers in a night sometimes.
That's good. It's not quite the same as, well, I don't know. I was going to say it's not cold in Canada. I guess it depends, but it's pretty bad in the winter as well. But
in the winter it will be freezing, but in the summer it's
really nice.
Very, very hot. You get both extremes.
Yeah. Well, you'll obviously be similar to me as well. In Scotland, it's literally like you get rain all year round. Occasionally glimpses of sun.
Yeah. Here in Ireland, it's just raining 24/7. Sometimes it's not even raining. It's just wet.
Yeah, just horrible. Okay, so normally what I do to finish off the stream, dude, is I've got like quickfire questions that I can just fire at you and just answer them. It doesn't have to be fast answers. They're just like quick little questions that
perfect.
Some are like ones that other people might want to know about you as well that were on stream when I said I was doing the podcast and stuff. So
all right.
So one of them was actually, which we mentioned earlier, was like where your username came from.
Oh, right. Honestly, it was a completely random phonetic set of letters. Because I've been gaming for a long time, right? I've had a handful of different names over the years. But every time you try to set up for a new account on a new game or a new service, your name's taken.
Yeah.
This name's taken, that name's taken. So I tried to think to myself, like, well, what is something that you can say phonetically, Spek, or what is now Spek, that isn't likely to be taken every single time because
Yeah.
it's just kind of a random series of non-word.
Yeah.
And that's originally where SPAC came from, or SPACers.
Yeah. Well, it's funny
Yeah.
because like you get I remember it was ages ago, a streamer Day9, he was talking about when StarCraft gamers, you would ask them where they got their names from, and they'd either say like, "What a really cool one-word name that was just like," and they have this. Like Dark, for example, I think he came out and said, "Oh, what a really cool name! Dark's really cool. It's kind of intimidating." And then you get someone like the next person's like, "Oh yeah, I'm called Monkey Balls," or it's like, "I used like a random name generator," and it's like the complete opposite. It's like you put too much thought into it, or it's just like, "Yeah, I'm just called something ridiculous." Like who cares?
Yeah, exactly. No, I was just sick of trying to think of new names. So, as usual, laziness is what
Oh yeah,
powered me forth.
Triumphs, yeah. Worst video game you've ever played?
Oh God. Well, I mean, there are some awful Nintendo ones, and there's the classics like Bad Rats that I've played because you have to play Bad Rats.
Bad Rats? What's that? I may just Google.
Oh, it was on Steam, and a couple of years ago there was kind of a joke going around where you would gift it to your friends because it was on sale for like 30 cents or something at one point.
Oh my God.
So you basically just buy a bunch of copies and gift it to everyone on your friends list.
It says here there's like a running meme of people who are trying to upvote it on Steam so more people buy it. That is absolutely tremendous. It's a 7 out of 10. That's not even the worst rating, man.
Oh my God, yeah. No, like that. It's practically unplayable. But I mean, the worst actual games. I mean, there's been some new stinkers as well. Like I tried Fallout 76 at a friend's house, and that hurt my soul. Oh. And so it's really tough. There are bad stinkers from every era. So, but there haven't really been any that have like ruined my childhood or life. So.
Ruined my childhood. That'd be a bad game, man. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
It's like I grew up playing quite a lot of it's Dynasty Warriors. So like me and my brother would play a lot of that, and I still remember like every single one would come out and they'd be good. And then recently, I think it was 9 came out.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
I was like, oh, I'll play it, and like I just got together with my bro. We actually like traveled to go play it together, and honestly, it just made me want to just take myself around back and just end myself. It was just the worst. I was like, you've taken like 8 years of this great game and you've just shat all over it,
there is nothing worse than having a favorite franchise just ruined like that.
Yeah, just kill it. And it's like a £50 game as well. It's not like it's a free game that's got downloadable stuff in the game. It's like you pay £50. I'm like, yep, that was great. It was well played.
That right there was a game that potentially spent hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to spend another second on it. Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. So the worst HOTS map.
Ooh, it's either Braxis in my opinion or Hanamura.
Mine's definitely Hanamura. I hate Hanamura, man.
Yeah, I dislike both of them in all honesty. I think I would have to say Hanamura is the worst one. It's just that I've played Braxis so much more because it's been around longer and it's been in pretty much every map rotation. So I have like a special hatred
for it. See, I give Braxis a little bit of a break just because it's StarCraft related, so we can.
Yeah. I miss Warhead Junction, the other StarCraft.
Oh my God, I'm glad that map's got the nukes everywhere, man. Jeez, that was crazy.
Yeah, that's the only thing they need to fix from that map, in my opinion, is get rid of the 4 nuke phase.
Yeah, that's
too many nukes at once.
Yeah, it was good. I actually quite liked the what's it called again? The boss in it. I forgot what it's called.
Oh yeah, like the big. I don't know what his name actually is, but it's the big gas.
Jesus.
Like a slime turtle.
I forgot what it called. The spawns at locusts. Oh Christ, never mind. It'll come back to me. But yeah, the thing I hate about Hanamura is the samurai. I feel like the samurai is almost as strong, if not stronger, than the objective.
It is stronger than the objective. That's my big concern with that map. It's the same problem Haunted Mines has in actuality.
My God, Haunted Mines, that was brilliant, man. I missed that. It's just because it was, again, it's because I used to play Quick Match. I don't think I ever played Haunted Mines in rank, maybe? I can't remember.
It hasn't been in rank for ages because they completely changed it at one point. Back in the day, when like you used to collect your golem, whatever you want to call it, and whenever it would die, it would leave a thing on the ground where it died, and then the next phase, it would respawn exactly where it died.
Yeah, that's right.
So it could have potentially respawned exactly like right on top of your core already. So a character like Sylvanas that would enable it to push a little bit further completely broke the map.
Yeah, it could just end the game completely. Yeah. Do you remember like playing this? But even in quick match games, it was like I felt like your team was either like, right, they're down the mines, everyone go, and it would be like you'd all go down individually and just die, or you get really smart teams that would wait for them to just come back up and just end them. It was like
just ambush them at where the mine exits. Yeah,
I do actually miss that.
I do like haunted mines. I miss. They just need to remove the sapper camp.
Is it actually
the sappers are the ones that will like run into buildings?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Damage.
That's right. Yeah.
Because again, same problem with Hanamura, right? The camps get too much value, and they're too simple to get compared to the value you get from the objective.
Yeah. So folks just ignore it and they fight for these camps, which doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like objectives should be there for the teams to focus on, so they can compete around something that will give them value. So it doesn't make a lot of sense if, the objective gives less value than them just going off, doing their own thing, getting camps on their side of the map.
Is mine still in the circulation for quick match?
No, it's actually the only map that has been removed from all game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I was about to say, I don't really play. I actually recently started leveling a US account just because there was occasionally people coming to my stream asking to play and I couldn't. So I went back and played quick match and I didn't even realize that it wasn't in circulation because I didn't see the point in playing quick match anymore because, you might as well just play ranked.
The only time I'll play quick match is if I absolutely need to just play this one hero.
Oh, just to see its mechanics, yeah.
Well, for instance, like when Deathwing comes out, I'll have to play on quick match because
Smash
you're trying to play
quick match, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if you want to play this one hero to test them out on the stream, or just to play that one hero, quick match is the only way to guarantee that you will be able to play that one hero.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already getting the fear of just going into a quick match game and just definitely.
Deathwing will be in quick match on both the rest of existence. That's going to be pretty much a guarantee.
I know. Well, it's again, rumors are people were saying that's potentially could be the last hero they let out, but I'm hoping they still come out with more.
I would be surprised
if that was last. Yeah.
I think we're not going to see that many more. But I would be very surprised if they didn't already have another handful.
Next one lined up.
That they were working on, and maybe it's not going to be anytime too soon. But no, I don't think it will be the last one. People saying that are kind of just assuming. Like, I don't think there's anything to base that information on.
Yeah, probably not. Gotta believe the rumors. So who's your favorite hero?
Oh, my highest leveled and most played hero is Zagara.
Yeah, same. She's actually my favorite to play. Again, it was like just because she was StarCraft 2, and I was like, I can push this lane. I can just click W and push somebody out of the lane. This is great. I love this hero. So.
Yeah. No, but I've always been a fan of the stranger heroes. Zagara, Gazlo is another one of my favorites. I enjoy Murky, but I'm too reliant on my teammates not dying if I'm playing Murky. Same thing with like Abathur or Vikings. Like, you're very dependent on the rest of your team being able to win a 4-on-4 fight without you. If you want to be able to win with those heroes.
I feel like Murky, I would say Murky, Vikings, and Aber are like the most feared heroes to see locked in when playing ranked. And it's not because like you do occasionally see some, like, I would say it's either all or nothing. The person's either a god or they're horrendous. There's no middle ground, like none.
Again, though, it's you can do the perfect thing with any of those characters. Like, you can play them the best they could possibly be played, but it will still be entirely up to your team to make it work. Because those are the types of characters that will just give your team maybe even a significant advantage. But it's up to them to capitalize on it.
Yeah, definitely. What's the next question? Sorry, yeah. So, what's your favorite fast food to order?
God, I have so many. Right now, it's just like Japanese food.
Oh, fine.
Like ramens and things of the sort. It used to be pizza, but I'm getting older now, and like a nice ramen or like a yakisoba or something just really hits the spot right now.
Nice.
Get some dumplings on the side. Oh yeah.
So what's your favorite streamer if you watch other streamers?
I Can't pick. Well, no, okay. I'm totally not my favorite streamer. I can never watch myself. I've
that'd be
seen a couple of the videos, and I'm like, my God, why does anyone ever watch me? What the hell is this guy doing?
That was taking recordings and like uploading them. I'm kind of glad that Twitch is removing that, because I was seeing other streamers like obviously consistently doing this, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll put a few videos up, and it would just start playing back, and I'm like, God damn it, close! I hate hearing like my own voice back and stuff, which is kind of weird to say. But
nobody likes that unless they're. But no, I mean, in all honesty, I very rarely watch streams as much as I used to, because again, I do stream full time, like over 40 hours a week.
Yeah,
so the moment I'm done streaming, I almost never even turn Twitch on at all anymore.
Step back from the PC a little bit, yeah.
Well, not the PC. I play other games, but like generally I'll play single player games. But I will say special love to Grubby, who doesn't really stream much Heroes of the Storm anymore.
Yeah, you used to watch a lot of them.
Yeah, I exactly. Before I started streaming HOTS, I used to watch him a lot. I know he does a lot of Warcraft now.
Yeah. Yes, well, because obviously I used to obsess over watching StarCraft quite a lot. So because he came from a StarCraft background and he was a god back in the day, and then when he swapped to HOTS, I was like, oh man, he plays this game. It was sort of like just a little bit of encouragement to try this game out. And it was a little sad to see that he just sort of swapped over to Warcraft. But I think he did mention in a video that Blizzard were sort of leaning him towards it because obviously Remastered was coming out. So
yeah, exactly. That's always been his primary game in the first place, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like that in StarCraft, HOTS was more of a side game for him. Even if we might have really enjoyed watching him, for him it was never his main priority, I don't think.
Nah, probably not. Yeah, it's how selfish of us to be like, yeah, play this game that you don't like playing because we enjoy watching it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you were to play another game or stream, what would it be? Would it be MMO, FPS? What would you play?
See, I've actually put a lot because you know, like
sorry,
there
you said that again. Sorry, your voice broke up again. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. That is actually something that I put a lot of thought into because you know, like there has been a lot of doom and gloom about Heroes of the Storm over the last like year and a bit. And I'm, you know, you have to think when you're a streamer of a certain game and that game's audience is decreasing and the player base is decreasing, what do you do?
Yeah.
And my answer is I have no goddamn idea. I really have no clue because I don't think there is any other game that I could play as much as I play Heroes of the Storm. So I would probably just have to become a variety streamer, like a different set of games, and go back and forth a little bit.
What other games do you start playing when you're not playing HOTS? Like you said there, you play other stuff when you're offline.
Yeah, well, currently I'm playing Outer Worlds.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Goddamn Epic Game Store, you made me buy it.
Damn the market employees, man.
Damn them for their but no, like it's great because I do enjoy Fallout, even though Bethesda has turned into a disgusting monster. I've always enjoyed those types of games, and yeah, like Obsidian has been one of my favorite developers for years and years and years now. So yeah, Outer Worlds I've been playing recently. I've been playing a little bit of Dota Underlords, sorry. Yeah, like I'll play all types of things. In all honesty, I'm not too picky. Some first-person shooters now and then. Yeah.
Okay, last question. This is a big one. Favorite beer?
Oh, okay. I haven't found this in ages, but we had it around not too long ago. King Puck.
King Puck? Okay.
King Puck.
What kind of beer is it?
I remember it. It's an IPA, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Because every Friday, right, I buy a bunch of nice beers, and we drink and we stream longer. So I've definitely tried a lot of different ones, and it feels like about a year ago they were around for a couple months. And then they just disappeared.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it might be like just, you know, I haven't had it in a long time, so it wasn't my favorite, and I just don't remember.
Yeah. Well, it's like
I will remember. Yeah.
Like a lot of my mates here, they're again, it's probably the same in Scotland as it is in Ireland as well. It's like, well, in fact, I know it is. Like the drink culture is huge, and like a lot of my friends have these beer apps where they can like mark off beers that they've had. So it's almost like a beer Bible on their phone. Like they can, they quite like these punk style beers. And like, I don't know if you've had them before, but what's it called? Brew dawg beers. You ever had them?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I definitely have a lot of Brew dogs.
Yeah, because it's literally like the factory is like like right next to where we are, so like it's from here.
Oh.
So like they have an incredible like factory and stuff out here. You can go see. They give you free booze, and the tour ends up getting quite boozy. But their punk IPA is still like really good. So it's just like my mates just they'll go to all these places where they have like abstract beers, because I've kind of seen your stream before, and I'm telling you, man, you need a beer sponsor. The amount of different beers.
I'm trying. Look, I keep drinking beer, and they're not offering me beer. I don't know what else I can do.
That's it. Just got to take it one beer at a time, man. It's a simple fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the questions we had to ask, dude. So thanks for
all right, perfect.
taking some time out your time. Just give me
it's not like I'm doing anything with my life. No, like thank you very much for having me. First podcast I've ever done. Hopefully not the last.
That's cool. Also, sorry, normally as well, this is quite. I've got all the streamers to finish off by saying something like this. So, if you were to give somebody advice that wanted to start streaming or even try to make it as a streamer, what advice would you give them?
I think this is common advice, but I think it's probably the most important one. Always pretend like you do have people watching you. Like if you're a beginner streamer, you've just started off, it's very common that you'll have nobody watching, or maybe one person. And it might feel awkward to just try to talk to that one person. Yeah. Right? Like, but just always assume, talk to yourself. Just like vocalize your thoughts and just keep speaking, because there's a lot of people trying to be streamers. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that are going to be going around looking at the smaller streamers, just popping in for a minute or two. And if you're just playing the game in complete silence, no one's going to stick around. Yeah. That's some profound words to end on, I think. Dude, that's good. Yeah. All right. Perfect.